They made so many profits.
Right.
Don't even get there. Uh,
I
the whole
remember.
thing, they got paid for this, they got paid for this, they got
Okay.
paid for this, they made 3 times the amount of money they lost on each one of those deals, supposedly. And I'm just saying, it just
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's happened. And the other piece of this is during COVID, and this is part of my big why. During COVID, the first week I had 42 appointments. 42 appointments. And I was at Goldman in the financial planning division, and I had 42 people. And a lot of these people made a lot of good money. Some of them were even at the Federal Reserve. Their firms were paying for them to have this service. And several of them were just overwhelmed. And it was like they hadn't done what they needed to do along the way with other things. And it was just one of those moments where I saw the fear in people's eyes. I saw the pain. I heard it in their voices. And the only thing that I can say is, it's not about intelligence. It's about emotional regulation. It's about making the shift from the patterns and the system that you've absorbed from the culture and probably from your families. Okay. And deciding that you're going to make that shift and living through the process of it. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's emotionally unnerving. But if you give people the support and you hold their hands with it, and most advisors are not allowed to do this and they're not paid to do this, you can get people through and you can help them make a shift. So I'll never forget, just real quick story. I had an accountant tell me, well, why don't you tell people, here's a worksheet on your budget. Why don't you tell me where your money is going? And you look through your bank statements and tell me how much you're spending in each category. And I looked him in the eyes and I said, because most of them won't do it. And he said, well, then how are you going to help them? And I said, here's a better idea. You flip the switch on their bank account, or you connect them to my eMoney financial planning service system, which is owned by Fidelity, and you connect any account that they use to pay for bills or to do any type of spending. And while they're shifting their mindset, you take the stress away and say, we're going to let this run in the background and we'll have information down the road. You help them with the mindset shifts. You help them build financial defenses using systems intelligently to sort of make it harder for them to get knocked down or make it easier for them to get back up. And then after a month or two, when you have data, you say, okay, by category, where do you think your spending is or your percentage of spending is per month? Okay. I'm not asking for them to do any research, but I'm asking them once they're comfortable enough to say, yeah, I think I do this and I do that. Then you flip the switch and you let them see it. And you say, okay, where were you off? Where were you right? And once they see the data, it's like, okay, so tell me where you have an opportunity to make a change. Tell me where you can be strategic and shift your behavior. And let's start with doing like the blue sky method that's talked about in Atomic Habits, where you do 1%, 3%, 5% in different areas, and it cumulatively builds to produce change. Once you have emotional buy-in, and once they see the opportunity and they see it as an opportunity to make a difference, it's a lot easier to sustain. Okay.